Every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is May 2nd, YC125, and this is the EVE Universe Show. Welcome to the third decade of EVE Online. How's it going? What are those lyrics even trying to say? What they're saying is that basically they're talking about coming under attack. And they're saying, bring it on. Whatever you destroy of ours, we're going to build it twice as tall. How's it going, guys? I just realized someone at YouTube changed the layout, and I'm absolutely disgusted. No. I'm actually going to be right back. I just realized I left the fan on in the bathroom, and I'm afraid that that's going to have some background noise that I don't want. So give me 1 second. All right. How's it going, guys? How's it looking? Everything good? Is the audio good now? We have a lot to cover today. We are going to update on the Shadow War. We're going to talk about the event. I want to run some sites, hopefully, if we have time. We have the 20-year anniversary and some other stuff to talk about. And, of course, a new expansion. So that's cool. What's going on? Oh, yeah. So, let's see. I had other things, too. No, that's it. Seeing what fit I use. Well, that's going to be part of it, right? Because apparently these sites are pretty hard, from what I've gathered. Ooh, T2 caps. So I will admit, like, if you've read into any of these things that we're talking about today, you might know more about it than I do at this point. I've only been able to skim over a whole bunch of stuff. Today has been absolutely slammed for me when it comes to trying to get everything ready to go. So there's going to be a lot of, like, in-the-moment discovery today, which, you know, could be cool. So I did run a site today in an absolution. Seemed to be fine. But who knows? We might find we might lose an absolution today. Marquee Dragon lost 2 Proteuses in the combat site earlier. Whew. Yeah, a lot of people are losing stuff, man. Yeah. No, we've lost. I've already seen people lose a couple of Lokis, a couple of Drakes, or a Drake. We had a Sleipnir get taken down by PvP though. So it's been kind of exciting. And also the hacking sites are pretty exciting too. So let's go ahead and jump into, before we get into all that stuff though, I do want to talk about on the go, because this is kind of the most poignant thing, and we'll talk about this a lot today, or at least bring it up. So here is the current status of the Shadow War. There are 2 incredibly important things to note here, all right? First things first, the Caldari, actually, well, more than 2, but 2 conclusions, but some observations. One, the Amarr are actually doing a pretty decent job now at getting caught back up with these big steps that they like to do. The Gallente have fallen a little bit behind there, as, you know, there seems to be more of an effort towards trying to finish up this side, especially now that the Caldari are done. So here's the thing. Last night, this was at 80%, and it's already at 88%. This is exactly what I was predicting before, where as the Caldari finish, now it becomes a race to get things in. So, you know, this has gone up over 1.5% in the last couple of hours, I think. If you have Stellar Transmuter data core stuff still, today is the day to turn it in. You may not ever get another chance after this. Likewise, if you work for the Caldari, They're at 62 fucking %. They're going to be done in like a day or two. I hope I waited till late enough into the video to swear. But, you know, they're going to be done within a day or two at this rate. The construction period is significantly shorter than the research period. So that means a few things. One, it means that we're actually going to potentially figure out what the heck these shipcasters are before the week is out. They are turning in to 2 different locations, both the transmuter location and the shipcaster location, from my understanding. So there's 2 different systems for them to turn in this stuff to. And of course, they're the only ones that can turn things in right now. We talked about the sites themselves in the last show. I looted 400 million in Dead Space modules in one of my first sites. Yeah, from a tornado. Don't try to run event sites in tornadoes. So yeah, that's I guess the big thing about the Shadow War is that the stellar research is about to be completely done. And relay tech research still has a ways to go for all 3 forces. They're less than halfway done across the board. Now, as the Mimitar and the Amar get to halfway, we'll probably start to see more and more places do the relay research tech release as well. Yeah, there is heavy newts. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of concerned about my Absolution, but I do have a cap battery, so we'll see. Yeah. So that's just kind of your heads up when it comes to the Shadow War event. We're going to talk about that today a few times. If you're in the Gallente, it's time to turn in for stellar research or hold your peace. If you're part of the Caldari, it's time for you to turn in the construction or forever hold your peace. Moving on. You want to talk about this the video, the mosaic? Yeah, okay. Fine, we'll start with the things I'm not happy about. That's fine.
You have shaped New Eden, woven its story. You have become the fabric of the universe itself. What you have accomplished together will never fade. You are EVE Online's 20-year history. And you are its future.
Okay, so this is the thing that we've been working on for like the last month or whatever, right? Where there's that whole time where it had cycling different things where like people were complaining because it was always mining or abyss or whatever. You had to complete it for so many days and then you got your picture into the mosaic. Yay! The mosaic is out. And you can, there's a link here. It says, woven in the fabric of New Eden, EVE's 20th anniversary mosaic image and video are now live. Huge thank you to all of the Capsuleers who participated. So you can use this website here to check out your exact location. But here's the thing that I don't like about this, and we'll talk about this. I'm actually really, I mean, like, it's cool and all, but I'm actually legitimately disappointed in this one. So if I find mine, I can zoom in on this and see, like, the thing I don't like about this is that this is not my image. This is my image colored, right? My understanding is that with these kinds of mosaics, what you're supposed to do is take a bunch of pictures and then arrange the tiny pictures like pixels in order to make a giant picture emerge of it. But what they've done here is they've basically taken a bunch of photos and layered this larger image on top of it with a transparency setting. Look, I didn't ask for it, I didn't pay for it, so it's fine, it's whatever. But I don't feel like this is what it's supposed to be, if that makes sense. Now, one might say, like, well, they needed it to make this picture, and obviously player pictures are not going to be that varied. But you know what? This picture didn't have to look this way. It didn't have to have these colors necessarily. Like, the thing is that they could have used the actual colors of our images, so that way who we are helps sculpt the image that appears. You know, if your problem is the fact that we have, you know, you have to use all of the images. You can't just pick them out. Usually you have like this major collage of images and you don't have to use them all. So that way you can pick out the correct colors for the correct areas. But like, just let our pictures influence the colors, right? Like, I feel like... So here's the reason why I bring this up. If I could put on my cynical hat for a minute. This feels like a physical representation of the complaint that I hear from a lot of the people that don't agree with me that EVE is going in a good direction, okay? When people talk about the fact that it's a sandbox and that CCP is making it all just about like a story and there's no real agency in it and we're not affecting the universe and all these kinds of complaints that I get, what I feel is that like this image kind of shows what they're talking about. Whereas in principle, this image is shaped by who we are. But in reality, who we are is just superimposed by what CCP wants to be there. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean by it's kind of sending the wrong message as far as I'm concerned. But I also want to point out that this is, again, getting like the worst of out of the way today. Because, yeah, I don't know. That's my artistic complaint. Yeah, if they had done it that way, it certainly would have been a lot more epic. Yeah, I agree. I just like I said, I feel like that it's kind of funny because it helped put into perspective, like, if somebody wanted to be cynical, this would just be another version of that argument, right? Nice to touch the details of the piece when zoomed in. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I really like the fact that there's all these images and that we can like find ourselves in it, right? But especially since, like, I guess I'd convinced myself with like AI and deep learning and all this kind of shit that you could just throw it a whole bunch of images and have it come up with something awesome out of it. It is cool to find your character on it. It is also good to know, like, I did look up both of my characters because I wasn't sure whether or not I got it on both characters. So there's that. Anywho, that's that. Let's look at the other things, because everything else is really, really cool. So, EVE's 20th anniversary extended Capsuleer Day event starts today and will run until the 30th of May. The event is brimming with challenges and great rewards, such as anniversary-themed items, exclusive skins obtainable only during this event, a new ship, and more. It's cool to find hundreds of your twins. Align with the Guri Malakim Pirate Cooperative or the SOCT. Then take on hacking and combat sites across all security space. The sites can reward you with new boosters, Glamorous boosters, new Capsuleer Day XX skins on the Grissus, Angel Cartel, and SOCT ships, as well as Genolution implants. In addition, PvP loot drops will be increased from 50% to 75% for the duration of the event. Like, that is burying the lead, man. Let me tell you. Okay, so let's take a step back. First of all, one thing I really like about this event, they did... This is the first event that they've done since the new faction campaign came out. And the faction campaign system, like even just the UI and everything, was such an improvement over the old event system, or the event system that we had like right just prior to it, that I was wondering how much of it would actually be applied into the new event. Spoiler alert, some good, some bad. We'll get to there when we get there. That said, one thing that is good is that it's always bothered me that it says to you that the rewards are equivalent without showing you the different skins that you can get, when usually it's different skins depending on which side you join with when it comes to these kinds of events. In the faction campaign, when you go look to join a side, it shows you all of the reward track. That's a huge improvement. They don't do it in this again. Once again, you don't get to see the reward track before you have to pick which side you want to be on. However, the good news is that for the first time, when they say that the rewards are equivalent, they actually mean it. You get all of the same skins regardless of which side you join. The thing that matters is which boosters you get. So if you join the Garistas and Angels, you'll get their boosters. If you join the SOCT, you get their boosters. The only other difference is what sites you get rewarded for, and you can always just run both sites anyways. So yeah, it's not as big of a deal if you quote unquote choose the wrong side in this event as some other events. Okay, so let's go into the implants. The fact that this Genelution implants are dropping is monumental. This means a few things. So let's actually take a step back and think and look into what this all meant. So in for the 10-year anniversary, I believe, is when they came out with the first Genelution implants, the CA1 and the CA2. Let's actually go look at these. What are Genelutions? So the CA1, CA2, these were the first two to get released. And then a little while later, like I think for the 15-year or whatever, they came out with the CA3 and the CA4. Now, these were given away. Basically, I think one to each person. There might have been, I think there might have been one given to the collector's edition. There was a certain amount of them that were put out at those times and never again, right? In the same way that like the Praxis and the Gnosis and all them only come from people giving them, but those get given out every year. These were given out once 10 years ago, and that's it. So this is why some have taken to call these implants the well, fits based on these implants, the asshole pods. And I'll explain why. So, under normal conditions, the only way to improve your CPU and power grid via implants is the standard 6 slots, right? We all know about... can we look up 603? Is that... No, that's not going to work. EE-60... So we've got the EE603 and the EG603, right? These are your standard fitting implants. One does CPU, the other does power grid. They do 3%. However, these are a 6-slot implant, which means two things. One, you cannot run an Omega or several of the other awesome implants while these are in your head because they already take up your 6-slot. You also can't stack them both. You can only ever increase your CPU or your power grid via implants. That's where Genelutions come in. These Genelutions are slot 1, 2, 3, and 4. However, Genelution CA1 increases the power core and your capacitor, so your power grid. CA2 increases cap recharge and CPU. And then the CA3 is... shield and velocity, and CA4 is armor and inertia. Realize also that this is a set. So like any other set, each one of them actually multiplies the rest of the set. So if you have all 4 of them, it's actually a bigger bonus than all these. Also, this is slot 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which means you can have both the Genelution CA1 and the CA2 and one of those 2 fitting slots implants that I was just talking to you about. You don't need an Omega because the Genelution doesn't have an Omega. So you can actually end up with fits that literally no one else can fit because you have the skills plus the Geno plus your fitting implants, right? That is why the Geno implant set is so gosh darn strong. But these things are very expensive. The CA1 by itself, I mean, they're not like stupid expensive, but they're expensive enough that like not a lot of people just run around with these for funsies. You know, these are 150 to 200 or 100 to 250 to 200 million or whatever each implant usually. And that's only gone up because again, it's just up until this point understood that Genos never ever are going to be replenished, right? CA1s and CA2s were given out the one time, And then the next time they gave out C3s and C4s, they didn't bring out any more CA1s or CA2s. So this has been a diminishing population for 10 years. And now they're dropping. So that means, A, this sets a whole nother precedent about these implants. Now, the SOCT could theoretically drop these implants again later on, making these more and more of a regularly available thing. And B, as a consequence to that, if you had any of these, which I only had a couple, just still kicking around, there are at least a few people that just lost a stupid amount of money today, probably. The one confirmed I do have is that somebody's gotten a CA1 out of a site. No, not the gold pod. That's a whole different one. The combat sites are very rough. We might lose an absolution here in a little bit. We'll find out. All right. Where were we? We were talking about things. I'd like new gold pods. That would legitimately make me kind of frustrated. I mean, if they just dropped, that would piss me off. Okay. So, making Capsuleer Day even more essential are the rewards you get by logging in daily. We'll look at the login rewards. G244 will be the hottest location in the cluster on Saturday, the 6th of May, culminating with a firework extravaganza at 1900 UTC. If you can't be there in the clone flesh, make sure to join the 20th anniversary live stream festivities at CCP TV, which kick off at 1700 UTC with prizes and giveaways. CCP Helmar, which is Hilmar, joins the stream at 1800 to discuss EVE history and will then undock from Jita at 1900 to join the firework extravaganza. At 2000, Spectre Fleet takes over from the CCP TV channel to celebrate their birthday with their 600th roam. That's a lot going on. That's going to be a big thing on Saturday. We should take bets as to how long CCP Helmar is going to remain alive on grid. This year is all about making history in EVE, so don't miss out on the extreme rare opportunities to etch your own legacy, soon to be expanded EVE Monument in Reykjavik while you still can. Make sure you are an active Omega pilot on the 6th of May to get your character name added to the monument or gain coveted Titan chevron next to your name if it's already there. So remember, guys, so one thing about that is it needs to be Omega, but if you go into the New Eden store, I think you can still buy 3 days of Omega. So if that's available tomorrow, then theoretically speaking, you could just buy enough Omega time to be Omega then, or just, you know, pay for a month and don't be a sleazeball. Depends on if he's in the Polaris or not. That's my thing. It's part of the fun. Hey, what's up? 07. Further cause for celebration in the form of brand new 20th anniversary packs, which we'll look at in the EVE store, plus skins and apparel bundles in the New Eden store. Plus the Elite XX Legends pack and Elite XX Immortal packs provide Omega, Plex, skill points, blah, blah, blah. We'll look at all those. We'll look at the skin packs. Okay. New expansion in June. How hard is this event for newer players? I'm not sure if we lose multiple Asteros. So the hacking sites are difficult to hack, but you're not going to lose your Astero unless you get got in PvP in somewhere else, like in a dangerous area. Right? The sites themselves have no rats, the hacking sites. Have they said if Hateless will be getting on the monument posthumously? Well, I don't think that they have, but just based on logic, I would say that the chances that his account is Omega on the 6th is extraordinarily high. So, I would say that, like, that's going to happen just by default. Okay, so new expansion, Viridian. As if there was not already enough to celebrate already, a brand new expansion for EVE Online is underway, as mentioned in the producer letter earlier this year. EVE Online Viridian is coming in June 2023 and will open even more avenues for players to forge new relationships, fly and work together for the glory of their corporation, further shaping New Eden and building upon 20 years of legacy in space. You can start getting excited for structure customization, new Tech 2 capital ships, plus corporation goals and content, such as the much anticipated loyalty point tax. All right. Well, let's keep finishing and let's keep reading, and then I'll speculate. EVE Online Viridian will empower Capsuleers to come together to work towards a joint purpose set by their corporation leaders and involving many playstyles. Having members access and track fresh challenges will help Corps invest in their futures, as well as assisting in Corp management, automating the tracking of member contributions towards Corp goals, and increasing the quality of life for all members, all of whom will have an important role to fulfill in the greater good of their organization. These are the first steps towards focusing Corp member activities and aiding war efforts from beyond the front lines in the future. Holy hell. This is one of those things that, like, I'm very nervous to get too excited about because it has a lot of possibility of being really, really great. But, like, arguably, this is what we've been looking at for, like, 7 years or more now. So, like, I don't want to get too, like, oh my god, this is everything we've ever asked for, right? As part of the EVE Online Viridian expansion, corporations will also be able to spend their collected Corp Evermarks on the visual customization of player-owned Upwell structures. This will give the appointed Corp members the powers, tools, and agency to brand these structures, cementing their Corp identity in the landscape of New Eden. As EVE officially enters into its third decade and in the path to forever, you'll band together, rise to the challenge, and do your part for your Corp, flying together as one. More will be revealed over in the coming weeks, so consider permission to get hype granted. And here's their the new poster. You're going to have more work. I know, right? Well, on the one hand, I'm going to have more work. On the other hand, a lot of this shit that we've been working on, like, internally, well, like, it looks like CCP is just going to do it for us, which is pretty nice. The event data site despawning with me on grid decloaked you. That's kind of funny. EVE may be forever, but it will only turn 21, and there are many activities and celebrations to get involved in. Not least of all is EVE FanFest in September. Blah, blah, blah. Yay! Okay. So, let's talk about this. Where should we start? Viridian. So, here's the thing. We're going to start with a bit of tinfoil, all right? I've been trying to shake this about this expansion's name all day, all right? Because, like, obviously, my prediction was that, and still is, that one of the big things about this expansion is we're going to be getting stellar transmuters to be able to allow null blocks to be able to customize their space. Or, you know, something along those lines. We'll talk about how that fits into what we've seen when we get there. But stellar transmuters in Triglavian technology are usually associated with the color red. Viridian, for those of you who don't know, is a color of green. And in fact, to really drive it home, if I go to my Twitter, CCP Helmar tweeted something. Oh god, I've got all sorts of nonsense. Hold on. What now? Helmar. No? CCP Helmar. No? Whatever, man. I don't trust Twitter. Hold on, give me a second. Really? The one thing I don't prepare. Oh gosh, hold on. There he is. It is CCP Helmar. So in his thing today he says, not only Not only is a week full of 20 years of EVE anniversary activities, we are also announcing a new expansion, and it comes in the shade of hydrated chromium oxide. Okay? So, but if we look into hydrated chromium oxide, we see that it is this color. Okay? And that is not vermilion. Vermilion's red. What is it? Viridian? Like, that is Viridian. So, my very first thought was like, I don't want, like, it seems very odd to me. Because this feels like it should be, like, the color of Gallente. So, like, why is the name of your expansion the color of the Gallente? And at first I was like, well, Gallente green isn't like a real green. It's more like a tealish green. Maybe they're talking more about the Jove, because like the Jove are what the SOCT are looking in right now. But like Jovian green is very much like that sickly like green. Whereas that is super Gallente. As a matter of fact, you could even see, like, I'm in a Gallente ship right now. Like, just look at the color that the button is here when I'm in a Gallente ship versus this color here. It's air? That's actually a really interesting thought too. But hold on. Air is teal. And air is a brighter green. That's like a green. Ah, there you go, Jacob. That's the other thing. So I'm like, it can't, like, the cynical side of me is like, oh, well, you know, the Gallente are kind of on a losing foot right now. Are they really going to do an entire expansion about is it going to be a Gallente-driven thing? And then I remembered that the Gallente are also the sponsors of the AT this year, which was pointed out by Jacob. So, like, is this going to be the year of the Gallente? It's weird. That's really weird. But okay, tinfoil aside. Did the Deathless have a color? If any, Deathless is only color that Deathless So the Deathless had a red and black skull bandana when he was first seen. The year of the Luigi. Okay, well, let's go back to this discussion. The first of two major expansions of EVE Online 2023, EVE Online Viridian, will be launched free for all players in June. So that's, hold on, May, June. That's next month, right? Yeah. So by the time Capsuleer Day is over, we're basically getting ready for Viridian, which is pretty much what I said, right? Because by the time that the Shuttle War event is wrapping up, that'll lead us into Viridian. All right. With EVE Online Viridian, players will be given more power to shape and color New Eden. EVE Online Viridian builds upon last year's pivotal EVE Online Uprising expansion by giving corporation leaders more means and methods to help their group flourish. There's no better time than the present for reconnecting with your corporation members to plan your next venture. You never know what's on the horizon. Ahead of the expansion in June, Capsuleers will find a wealth of activities to enjoy in and outside of the game in May, including Capsuleer Day, in-game cosmetic firework extravaganza, Monuments Opportunity, inscribed blah blah blah. All of that's all stuff we've read already. Okay, so back to what they were saying in the other one then. Okay, so I guess we'll just start at the low hanging fruit. We're going to get the structure customization that we've seen before, that we talked about already, or that they've talked about already. Awesome. the next step in all of this customization stuff. Great. We've been waiting for that for a year. Cool. New Tech 2 capital ships. This is new. Okay. Let's look at the actual Viridian. So we can see that there's a bunch of caps here. And while they do originally look like the Navy ones, you can tell for sure that this one here is not the Navy one. Okay? So, which means that this one appears to be closer to maybe being a Thucker. This one is definitely a Roden, right? That's the Roden Shipyards logo right there. The reason why this is important is because Tech 2 ships are built by the different corporations within the Empire, right? Do we have a logo on these? The Phoenix is definitely Caliceota. Yeah. So what's interesting about that, if you assume that this is Thucker, which it looks like it's pretty close to being, and that's Roden, and those look pretty dark. So let's say that's Conid. That's black and silver, right? If we assume all of that, you know what that means? You know what that means, guys? Let's speculate. This is tinfoil episode, okay? So let's look here. If we go to the ship tree, let's look for a second, okay? Black Ops, the Sin. Actually, it's the Marauder in this one. So Duval Laboratory is the Marauder. Duval Laboratory is the Astarte. It is the Deimos. So a lot of the heavy hitters. However, it also is the Nemesis, right? Yeah. Oh, no, because that's Duval, not Roden. We need Roden. We need to find Roden. Yeah, that's Duval, not Roden. So what does Roden do? Does Roden do any of them? Hold on, wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Because this is, the drone ones. Creo drone. Hick is Roden? Yes, here we go. So the Hick is Roden Shipyards. As is the Lachesis. And the Sin is drone oriented. That's why it's Creo drone. Got it. Are there any other Rodens that stand out? Okay, so if we go over to the Mimitar, we see that the Thucker are the Panther. The Caldari, the Widow, is Caliceota. And Amar, the Redeemer, is not who I thought it was either. Yeah. No, this is Redeemer is Viazem? Vizium? But Conid is the Anathema, the Damnation. The Naglfar Boundless Creations? What does Boundless Creations make? Oh, the Vargar. It's going to be hard to tell, right? Because one's just like snow camo, the other is just normal camo. All right. My point is that... Actually, I don't know if I have a point. The question is, are these going to be Covops, right? Are these going to be the capital assassins? I don't know yet. It is weird to me, honestly, that we are focusing on Dread still, rather than giving carriers some love. I will say that. Hold on. There we go. High-res version. Anything cool? Oh. CSP Helmar? Yeah. Hilmar, his Eve name is Helmar. I know, it's kind of confusing sometimes, but it is what it is. I don't even know where the logo would be on this mess. What's that? Is that it? Where is the logo on an Naglfar now? On the Navy. We'll look at the Navy. Top. Yeah, they're at the top. So it'd be... right there? Is that it? No. Hold on. Riveting. Riveting stuff here. All right, hold on. There's the top. Whereas in here... am I showing you both at the same time now? No. Okay. So it is here, which would put it right around here, but I don't see it. Or it would be like right up here. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but like I'm not sure. I'm super not sold on the idea of T2 capitals yet. We'll have to see what they actually represent, and why. Did you just call the Naglfar a mess? No. There's no guarantee that they're going to be dreads, are there? Well, I mean, that's what they're showing in the picture. So, you read the tooltips before picking a faction? Yeah. Probably the least likely thing I want is totally new mission system, like the probability, like they probably have something cooking, but it's probably years out yet. Well, not necessarily. Like, that is actually what they're kind of working on right now. The redoing of the career agents was a big step in that. Have we gone over the agency challenges for Cap Day? No. They might not have made the sketches 100% accurate. That's true. But we've gotten a lot of hints from these images before. To be honest, it'd be more likely to be 2/2 carriers than dreads. That's why I thought 2. They've been very close to, like, if you remember when they showed Uprising, we were able to predict both the idea that there were faction destroyers and faction exploration frigates and faction battlecruisers coming. Okay. T2 capitals are a cool idea. They can be. The thing is that, like, so the question is, how do you make a T2 dread that isn't just a better dread, right? Because if you've got dreads and Navy dreads and T2 dreads, how do you make that not just like a linear progression, right? And that's why I think that what it's going to be is be more like a Black Ops, right? Where you forego its, you know, maybe it's more tankiness or whatever for more of a like a sudden strike, can jump to Covops cloaks, hits really, really, really hard, and is designed to hit, you know, capitals or super capitals to do a bunch of damage. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. There are also pirate dreads too, but pirate dreads at least have their cheats that allow them to be kind of defined, right? Like, you don't really need to defend that a Blood Raider fax is different than a faction, like a Navy fax, just because of the Blood Raider bonus. The reason why I say like anti-super cap is because they want dreads to be the natural predator of the super caps. And they've also said that they wanted like some sort of weapon that can be used on higher end stuff that it cannot really be used on lower end stuff a lot better. So to have it be like an assassin for capitals tracks. Yeah, well, look at faction dreads. Faction dreads are priced just fine. So let's talk about why I think that they're putting in T2 capitals, because it plays into the other pieces that they were talking about, all right? My alliance has a series of websites that exist that allow us to try to coordinate and communicate our needs, right? Because we build all kinds of top-level stuff, and there's all these different moving pieces, and there's various different programs or, you know, whatever that you can use. We used to use a system called LM1, or LMEve, rather. Not LM1, LMEve, that allowed us to kind of, you know, track, or like, we would take, here's what we wanted to build in T2, and it would break down all of the jobs for like invention and manufacturing and all that stuff into sub-jobs that could then be taken by people, and then those were assigned like hourly wages, so then the entire production would make a bunch of money and then pay everybody based on wages, right? It was super cool and productive, but it was all this big tool built by a player a while back, you know, etc. And there are several places like this. But here's the thing. Eve really is about these bigger goals, right? And like one of the reasons why I think that we struggle with multi-boxing and all these other things is because like we want to do things as a group, but the amount of bullshit it takes to make it so that we can do something together as a group and coordinate with each other, it's often to just better to let somebody take care of it, right? Like, I have an industry director, Malak. He's really talented and smart, and he gets a lot of shit done. But, like, even still, it's not like it's about employing a whole bunch of people. Not because he's bad at being a director, but it's because, like, 9 times out of 10, it's just easier for him to do the top end thing and then like put out requests for the things he needs in order to make that happen. And that's how that gets the ball rolling for everybody else. Because otherwise it's very difficult to communicate, you know, processes and steps and work towards bigger meta goals. So that is, I think, what we're going to be getting with Viridian, is those kind of meta goals and tools for alliances to build, you know, to have things to work on together, right? So historically, a big thing that newer groups will do is they'll work on building a single big thing, right? Let's build our own Raitaru. Let's build our own super carrier, whatever it happens to be, right? And it's this thing where like everybody contributes and everybody kind of throws in their own thing. You know, there's the explorer that has to go out and get the exploration stuff done. There's the gas huffer that has to get the gas done. There's the miners. There's the inventors. There's the everything, right? All these things need to happen. None of it is coordinated natively. And so a lot of it is honestly just like, well, the hackers going and they're hacking the stuff and then selling the shit on Jita. And then the guy who needs the stuff is buying it on Jita and then using it to build stuff. So like we're using the markets as kind of like this interim period. So like, wait, everybody's doing it. But wouldn't it be nice if we could just say, we want to build a structure and that has multiple goals in the same way that the Shadow War event has had multiple goals. We have to research this many blueprints. We have to have, well, I mean, research blueprints doesn't really fit for T2 or for structure building, but you know what I mean? Like we have to build this much PI. We need to get these pieces, blah, 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 blah. It needs to be built. It needs to be brought here. It needs to be turned in. And we could watch as our collective efforts move forward. And here's the even bigger kicker, okay? Here's the awesome one. Here's the part where I'm trying to not get too excited. Ready? When you combine that with the idea of an LP tax, things get very exciting indeed, right? Because the thing here is, if you have an LP tax, then that means that the alliance or the corporation has LP, right? And therefore, they can reward LP for these things. Imagine if there was a meta goal to build the new Tech 2, and this is the reason why I bring this up, is because like Tech 2 construction in particular is incredibly complicated with lots of different parts that require multiple disciplines in order to make it all work, right? It's one of the hardest things to logistically work on, and is the thing that everybody uses third-party tools for. So if CCP puts in a thing that allows a corporation to work together on the construction of T2 ships, why wouldn't you then also introduce a T2 capital ship, the apex of that kind of complexity, right? They're introducing these new T2 capitals, not because of power creep, but because of complexity creep. They need something that is enough of a meta goal that it could be something that a corporation is working on rather than as an individual. Do you think they can give or purchase by corp officers instead? I mean, like that's probable too, right? I'm just saying, like you have a wallet, you have an LP bank, you can put rewards on tasks. Well, it's so annoying to build because we don't have something that allows all of this effort to be put together simply. You could, for example, sell LP to someone for some tools or materials turned in by neutrals, for example. Right. Well, I mean, we'll just have to see. Like, obviously, there's already a contract system. I mean, like 90% of this could be just handled by contracts. All it would need is like the meta thing that. Right now, we have a website that basically reads our contracts that are going through our buyback program and uses it to fill our little goal meters. So that way every month people can see how much of our monthly targets we are done with any given item. So that way a new person that needs to know what to do for PI or what to mine or whatever can go there and see. And it's based on like our manufacturers and stuff like that can be like, hey, I want to build this many things every month. It breaks it down into its component pieces, and those get collated into these, resource gathering goals. This would basically automate that, which would be perfect. T2 Dreads as a super cap killer would need a way to extract more often to make them more worth it if this is the aim. Well, I think that the whole point is that like it would jump in, hit real hard, real fast, then get out. They've also said that they want capitals to be cheaper. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. There is a fair chunk of the value of these ships that are based on the bullshit factor, right? Like, it isn't just the fact that exploration stuff is so valuable or blah, 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 but it's like, it's legitimately, there's a lot of logistical complexity built into the process of doing these new reactions and all this other stuff. If the process of actually realizing the steps it takes to build this stuff was made more streamlined, not that the process, not that any less actual work is required, but that the management of that work was simpler and communication of shared requirements was made more intuitive. That alone would drop the value, the price of some of this stuff. Just because there would be more people being able to acquire the resources and build the stuff necessary more effectively. You would actually increase the supply and therefore potentially drive down the price a bit. That's without making any adjustments to prices and whatnot, which CCP has actually said that they probably will do further adjustments to prices on capitals. It's been a long time since that was said, Marcus. I find it really interesting to see where they're going to go with that, just based on what they've said, right? Because it really seems like they're leaning in on the idea of like tools for collective effort. You know, having member access and track fresh challenges. So like having members access and track fresh challenges will help corps invest in their future, right? Like today, I've been doing rewards to people for finishing up Shadow War sites. What if I could just do that automatically? What if I could set this as the goal for our alliance, is to turn in X number of those things, and it'll actually track that information for me automatically, and like we can offer bounties on that sort of stuff to add additional reward on everybody who turns in a fucking, or turns into the thing. I'm swearing way too much today. I'm sorry. You get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of this has a lot of potential. And this is, in my opinion, really the thing that EVE Online has needed. Because it's not like the system is, like the system's complex and interesting, but people don't have the tools to navigate it. This will give a... Now, the other thing is, I guess that I feel like that structure looks pretty normal. You would think that like with everything they would have like some sort of fancy Asterhus here, but whatever. It is what it is. Okay, I think that's it for that. Right? It's got different colors. Yeah, I know, but like with so many colors being done here anyways, it's really hard to see. I can't really go like, ooh, ah, you know? Hold on. Patch notes for today. Is there any? Yep, fixed a bug. Okay, so yeah, there's just some bug fixes more or less along with the starting of the thing. and fixed a number of issues which unintendedly increased the difficulty of some of the Capsuleer combat sites and sometimes meant SOCT easy sites were unable to be completed. That seems problematic. Why do you think tax will solve the co-op issue? Well, because, like, especially with faction warfare in particular. Hey, thank you for that. For faction warfare in particular, the absence of a top-down income is pretty problematic for things. Who are the people in the poster? I'm sure we'll see more of them, although I feel like I've seen some of them, like, I've seen... but, you know, I don't know. Chances are these aren't anybody in particular. But we'll see when we get closer to, like, the expansion. Or, like, a video. Speaking of which, there's no videos or anything out today, right? Because that seems pretty odd to me. Zerkosh's little brother on the right. Is it? Well, yeah, there's the video of the mosaic. It ain't Capsuleer Day until Saturday. Right, but, like, you'd think that there would be a scope video for the event starting. All right, let's get started. First and foremost, we have a daily login campaign. So here's the crazy thing about this. This Capsuleer Day event is lasting for 30 days. But one thing that's worth noting, there's 20 days of gifts. So you have to log in for 20 out of the next 28 days to get all of the gifts. So let's look at what they are. Today we get the Capsuleer skin that we were looking at with the capsule and some skill points. The alpha rank is at the top, the omegas are at the bottom, right? So tomorrow we get some fireworks and some boosters, then some more boosters, and we get the apotheosis on day 3, some evermarks, more skill points. On day 8 we get the synesis. On day 13 you get the gnosis. On day 16 we get the praxis, and on day 19 you get the metamorphosis. So you can only miss a grand total of 9 days and still get the metamorphosis. However, the final reward is 300,000 skill points. So 300,000 skill points if you can log in 20 out of 28 days. Well, everyone's a rando at first. Every friend is a stranger at one point. Anywho, okay, so that's the login reward. As far as the actual event itself, as I mentioned earlier, the track is actually the same, more or less, for both sides. They are actually equivalent, this event, with the exception of the boosters. So the Garistas Angels have shield-based boosters, and, you know, associated with them. And the SOCT have armor-based boosters and things associated with them. So that's the big difference. You get the same apotheosis, synesis, praxis, gnosis, dramiel, worm, Gila, and then Glamorix crate that you do. So you get the same skins for both sides. It's the boosters that you get that's different. And the tasks that you do that are different. Now, one thing that is unfortunate is that... Hold on. One thing that is unfortunate is that you still have to click on the task every single time to complete it, unlike the faction campaign. That's one thing that they did not bring forward from the fixes from the faction campaign. You still have to click every single time to get the points. Wait, what? Why do you have to make randos as robots and not even attempt corp activities, choose tax or group? I don't understand the argument that you're making. Either corp benefits or group benefits, not both. The corp is the group? I don't know, man. Anyway, so you require a grand total of 1,200 points. Probably it's going to be like, what, 30 per site to complete if you get all 3 pieces. You can do it through hacking. You can do it through combat. You get the idea. The better sites are in the normal sites are in high sec. The better sites are in everywhere else. Low sec, null sec, Pochfin, and wormhole space will all get the better sites. This means you can yeet out to null in order to run the better sites and other places like that. So this is a departure from other events where it's usually like only low sec and whatnot, and they actually changed it to this in the last second. So, and it's done by T1, T2 battle cruisers, or all, T1, T2, T3 cruisers on down. I will say that a lot of T1 battle cruisers and a lot of T3 cruisers have so far died today. If I do events, my friend will laugh at you. The wormhole police appreciate the wormhole bait. Well, yeah, I think that that's fair because, like, normally the what's it called? The Angel Cartel event, the Guardians Gala, is focused on wormholes. So wormholers lost the one event per year that is more focused on wormhole space. So it makes sense for them to not have this one be constrained to only low sec. Especially since low sec already is kind of crowded because of the other event sites that are coming out. So yeah, or that are the Shadow War event sites. What? What just happened? Oh, thanks, I guess. Oh, I know what that was. Need more wormhole events. Yeah. Remember, they did say that there will be twists and turns in this, and there is, like, this is research into Jove technology. We're going to go into, like, the lore and all that stuff probably on another day. Let's go ahead and try to find a site. If I'm finding a site for combat, I'm going to open up the agency and then go to combat anomalies. This is what's going to allow me to see sites in the system next to me and the system I'm in. So I can see here, oh, there's a survey expedition 1 jump away. So we're going to see whether or not it's already being run. Pull up the metamorphosis. Oh, yeah. Thank you. They did change the metamorphosis stats. We'll look at those first. So the metamorphosis, we now have its different attributes and everything. It's going to be pretty sick. It's got 100% bonus to basically every weapon system, so it doubles the damage of any weapon system. This is not quite as exciting as you would think once you realize that it basically has 1 turret and 1 launcher hardpoint. So, and you kind of want to use the other 2 for a covert ops cloak and a probe launcher. So, chances are this is just giving you 2 turrets. But you do get extra drone hit points, but not extra drone damage. Did they actually... Hold on. My bad. No, it's 1 hard point. It's 1 hard point. Yes, yeah. It's effectively 2. So you have your score... You have scanning strength, deviation. You have virus strength, which is really good. Hold on. The same virus strength bonus as the Astero. +2 bonus to warp core strength. That's crazy, okay? So this is an exploration ship that has all of the bonuses, like the better hacking, the good hacking, the good scanning, and the covert ops cloak, and a warp core strength bonus. That is crazy sauce, okay? That is really, really, really good. This thing's going to be slippery as hell. Why is the SSCT the only, why is the Metamorphosis the only SSCT ship with a faction symbol? I think it's just somewhere between oversight and like this is the more, like they're putting this one in, and so they put it in with that one and haven't either corrected the previous ones or just being inconsistent. That's what happens when you've been making a game for 20 years. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe they're planning on changing up the SSCT line to not be considered special edition, so you can actually find it in the ship tree, but I'm not sure. No, the Astero combat-wise is basically better in every single conceivable way to the Metamorphosis. Like if we... if you compare the two, the Astero has more drones, the Astero has a bigger capacity, has more structure hit points, has more armor hit points, has more shield hit points, has well, the capacitor is a little bit weird because of the way it works out, but I think that it has a stronger capacitor, better scan resolution. No, wait, hold on. I guess the Metamorphosis technically has a better scan resolution. Further targeting range, more lock targets, faster, more slots, more CPU, less power grid. That's about it. Metamorph has only 30k lock range. Yeah, I said that. Less lock range. Wouldn't be surprised if some players try to bait fits with a rocket launcher plus blaster plus newt or something, but I've always... but it's always going to lose it into a fair fight with an Astero or a Navy issue exploration frigate. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I was thinking, Satonia. Also, the Metamorphosis has a 30km lock range, which is quite annoying when playtesting it. I can imagine. Especially if you decide to try to put on like another warp core stab or something like that. That'd be bad. Hi, new to the game. Do you have a guide for new players like me that and if you don't, can you recommend one? I have a whole training playlist. And of course the Convocation Imperiums can help you out. And the problem is that like, well, I have a video called Should You Play Eve in 2023, which also leads you in it will lead you in a lot of good direction. Is there a Kaldari Mimitar battleship? No, not yet, not yet. Wrong pirate faction got showed up today. Metamorphosis. The thing I really like about the Metamorphosis is that it also comes with that cargo or the mobile depot. So it can I really want to put a Metamorphosis inside of my frigate escape bay. I assume you can do that. It's just a frigate, yeah. The answer is yes, you should play Eve in 2023. Yeah, pretty much. Make sure to use a buddy code. And like I said, yeah, reach out if you have any specific questions, for sure. Yeah, I can go in escape base. I swear to God, I want to have a Praxis with a Metamorphosis in its escape bay that, like, the Praxis carries every weapon system and every, like, tank type. So it can just, like, rearrange itself into basically any single configuration you could possibly need. T2 frigs can't get into a frigate escape bay other than that. Well, those aren't T2 frigates. That's the whole point. I want a frigate that has a shuttle escape bay. Well, the Nester should have... Was it the Nest, or is it the... Does the Astero even... Hold on, is it the Astero? I know the Nester has the thing. No, the Astero does not. The Nester has the little shuttle right down there. Dives become pod, dives become corpse. You got to make it so the Triglavian ships will do that, Sitonia. That way it's a Russian nesting doll. Ah! All right. You just won a 2v1 with a Punisher and a Fleet Catalyst versus your Dragoon? Wow, nice. What the hell is a Metamorphosis? It's the new SSCT Exploration Frigate. Came out today. All right, let's assume... Let's assume that the sites are already, that site was already done. Find something to do. I'm going to hit an add button while we look. Wahaha. Eister, Iram. All right, let's set destination. And away we go. All Omegas get one after logging in for 19 days out of the 28 days. Are there only Metamorphosis going to be login rewards, or is it going to be BPC? There are no BPCs, yeah. Still no channel info for stream times. God. Yes, the sites are super deadly. Well, remember, you can redeem them anywhere. Well, I can only assume that, like, so... Hey, Ganai gifting a sub. I can only assume that they're going to be doing that to... Oh, Frankie Diaz gets a gifted sub from Ganai. Thank you for that, man. If you're an alpha on a budget, you can claim all the reward track and then buy the 3-day Omega pack and then claim all the Omega rewards of it retroactively. That's true. Yeah, if you go Omega at any point during this event, you can go back and get all of the Omega rewards. So you just like you could buy it the 3-day now in order to have Omega on the 6th or tomorrow rather. You could likewise. Oh, thank you for the reminder. We were going to look at packs. We were going to look at packs. I knew I missed something. Let's go look at the store. First and foremost, if you guys haven't already... What was that? Wait, what was that? Was that a different message, or was that Ganai's thing? I think that was Ganai's thing. Yeah, Hanor, I was just talking about that. Yeah, I knew that there's a few people that are losing a lot of money this morning. I'm sorry, man. But yeah. So if we go into the store, the New Eden store in game, right now, at the very top, there's 50,000 skill points for absolutely nothing right now. So make sure to go, at the very least, log in, go to the New Eden store, and pick up your 50,000 skill points. I don't know how long this is going to last. I assume by the end of the month, but just in case, pick it up as soon as possible. There's no reason not to. So let's look at these bundles. We have one for 520 plex. Remember, 500 plex is a month of game time. So one for basically a month of game time, one for 1.5, one, and then two for 2. So we've got the Legacy Standard Bundle, Legacy Advanced Bundle, Legacy Industrialist Bundle, and Legacy Apparel Bundle. I'm really curious about that because the Legacy Standard and Legacy Advanced are both the same price. So let's look. Legacy Apparel Bundle is a bunch of clothing. Oh my gosh, these are old. Is that why they're called... Oh, Legacy Apparel? Is that why it's called that? Are these all older stuff? I think so, right? So it's just like... Yeah, 20 of the Eve's most fashionable looks jack... Yeah. Okay, so this is just like a packet of just stuff that already existed. But now you can just pick them up for as a bundle. The Industrialist Bundle has a Badger Rada Sunset. Hold on. Hello? Uh-oh. My computer did not like that.